Well, you know, there's a lot of forces going on in the world that seem to be taking away our control over what happens to our bodies. I mean, if you're thinking about what's going on right now at the Republican National Convention, of course, one of the big stories is the platform plank around banning abortion, even in the cases of rape and incest. So, you know, if the Republican Party is standing for deregulation, it may be deregulation of things that poison our environment, but they're trying to regulate women's bodies and tell us what we can and can't do with some of the most personal decisions that we ever encounter in our lives. So I think that's one of the questions that we look at in this issue is, you know, what does it take for women to be able to assert that kind of control? And it's not, you know, one of the things that's interesting about this is that once you start digging a little bit more deeply into it, the liberation of men's bodies and the liberation of women's bodies are actually deeply interlinked. So one of the questions that we looked at in some depth in this issue is, you know, why are we sending so many young men away to war? Why do men feel like they have to prove themselves, even at the expense of their own health, on football fields and by getting involved in violent interactions? And some of them suffer for the rest of their lives in order to prove some odd sense of manhood. So we look at that, and we look at the way that our society, particularly the powers that be, have been manipulating that urge among young men to prove their manhood in order to get things out of them, like to get them to go to war, even in wars that they may not approve of. So there's lots of different aspects of this question of getting back control of our lives, and an awful lot of it does have to do with women and getting the basic human right of being able to determine what happens in terms of our own reproduction. But, you know, and I just have to say, one of the things that is just mind-blowing about this platform plank is even when the life of the mother is at stake, the Republicans are saying that she shouldn't be allowed to terminate a pregnancy. So they're actually asking women to be ready to sacrifice their lives. These may be women who are raising other children and whose whole family is relying on them, but they are supposed to die rather than end a pregnancy. And I just think that's a very stark picture. You know, the New York Times, in a recent editorial, called this platform, you know, so extreme, such a move to the right that it's just beyond anything that's been part of the mainstream up until now. And I think we should take that seriously. You know, Romney has certainly been all over the map in terms of his own positions on things and has been, I think, rightly accused of being a flip-flopper. But we should take seriously that the Republican Party is putting forth an agenda that is quite so extreme as that.